Oh, Grandma, I had that dream again. Ah, rise now, ye tarnished, ye dead who yet live. The call of Let's Play Bloodborne for Katie speaks to us all. Welcome back, folks. I know the last 3 episodes were the end, but we still got a little ways to go. I wouldn't leave you hanging like that. Did you remember we got this Eye of a Blood-Drunk Hunter after beating Vicar Amelia? Hunter who goes drunk with blood is said to be taken by the Nightmare, destined to wander forever. Fate that no hunter can escape. See, that sounds like a fairly sweet deal to me. That sounds like one could maybe, have a nice time going through 3 extra levels and fighting 5 extra bosses and gaining 16 level ups before we go fight the final bosses of the game. Which is what this is. This is back before episode 26. I recorded this just before fighting Murgo's wet nurse. Because I find that the scaling of the difficulty in this DLC, and usually in FromSoft DLCs, is such that it's good to... You'll have the best experience if you do them just before the end of the game. It's hard.
Cursed fiends, their children too. And their children forever true.
Ah, welcome to the Hunter's Nightmare. Well, it looks pretty familiar. And how can it be a nightmare if there's so many pots to break? That's my idea of a fun time. Plus, like, look at all this. It looks just like Cathedral Ward. There's nobody here. And this door's closed, but... all looks very familiar, I must say. Well... okay, well now that's all different. For one thing, it was nighttime, and the sun was not being eaten by venom. And the buildings were not... they were resting very firmly upon their foundations. And there wasn't all this, I don't even know what the fuck to call all that. But it certainly wasn't everywhere last time I looked. So yeah, the look of this first level I think is very cool. It's a really neat twist on the kind of environments and decor you've been traipsing through the entire game. It's also nice because it's bright, you know? We haven't really been in a well-lit space since before, you know, beating Vicar Amelia and triggering the nighttime phase. And, yeah, see, I died here for a reason. It's to show off that the DLC is hard. No, I just got caught off guard by this guy. But yeah, believe it or not, this is not a mini-boss. This is just a regular enemy. Since as the Eye of the Blood-Drunk Hunter indicated, the Hunter's Nightmare is a sort of afterlife realm where hunters who have given in fully to their bloodlust are condemned to go upon death. Many of the regular enemies in here, in this first level, are going to be hunters. The kind of hunters who served as essentially mini-bosses in the overworld. So that's part of what makes the first part of this DLC so hard. We're also going to be picking up pieces of a cool new outfit, the old hunter set, which is neat. As many of these hunters we're going to be fighting have been here since the hunt began, which was probably like hundreds of years ago? I'm not sure about the official timeline. Some, you know, theories and lore speculations I've heard tend to imagine that the hunt has gone on for maybe around 200 or 300 years. Not really as long as the cosmology and history of, say, like, the Dark Souls universe, where we're talking, like, eons of different ages of demigods and dragons and war and shit. This is much more of a modern thing, and as such has a bit of a shorter history, though one just as rich with lore and incident and intrigue and wow, these guys don't fuck around. So as I mentioned, 3 new levels, 5 new bosses, tons of new enemies and assets, and a lot of new weapons too. I believe we'll be getting that club that turns into a whip. I'll be showing off some of the weapons. The ones that I'm sort of more used to using or felt like experimenting with. Some of them I just kind of skip over or sell for some free blood echoes, honestly, whenever I get them, but yeah. There's also plenty of twin bloodstone shards and bloodstone chunks throughout this DLC, and another blood rock. So if you have the DLC, you essentially have access to 2 blood rocks and the ability to +10 2 weapons without resorting to paying 60 insight for 1 blood rock, or I don't know, you might be able to find them in like the really hard chalice dungeons. I'm not sure. But yeah, out here in the town square, you remember there were a bunch of church giants around here in the waking world. Here it's kind of an endless hunt. There's all these weak beasts who, you know, go down in 2 hits for us, but hey, it may be a nightmare, but a hunter's gotta hunt, so all these old hunters who've been stuck in here for hundreds of years are they just kill the same beasts over and over again. And then they try to kill you, because, you know, they're crazy and they're in hell. And given what we found out the last couple episodes about the nature of the dream and nightmare realms in general, I feel pretty confident saying my interpretation of a hunter's nightmare is it is essentially hell. For hunters, specifically. You could draw parallels between, you know, the Dante's Inferno, different levels of hell. I think it's safe to say that various nightmare realms, including potentially the Hunter's Dream, are a sort of afterlife. I think you could think of the Hunter's Dream as purgatory and the other nightmares as sort of, you know, hells that cater to the specific sins of the people who wind up there. Like, the Nightmare of Mensis definitely seemed like a hell that the School of Mensis were brought to for the crime of what they did to Murgo and Queen Yarnum. And, without saying too much, we'll get into what the old hunters did to deserve being, or to warrant being, placed into this endless nightmare realm. That's kind of the thrust of the plot of this DLC, is discovering what exactly the old hunters did. That's why it's called the Old Hunters. Anyway. These are such weird dogs. Even for this game, which is full of weird dogs. I don't know. I've been, you know, I've been seeing and loving all your comments on videos lately, Katie. And last one that came out was episode 19. We were in the Nightmare Frontier, and you reaffirmed your commitment to cuddle every dog in this game. Would you want to cuddle those dogs? Because I don't know. They seem like they'd be wet. I'm not even sure what's going on with them. They just seem like something's not good there. There's some icky business going on with those dogs. Here we go, the Beast Cutter. So this is what that first guy, those first couple guys were wielding. It's somewhat similar to... It's actually more similar to the threaded cane, I guess, since it turns into a whip, but its untricked form is more like the saw, cleaver, or spear, in that it's, you know, a large, serrated weapon to be swung around. I've never really used it, but it looks pretty cool. That's another thing I like about this DLC is also, yeah, you can see it unupgraded does not do much to these, you know, not do nearly as much damage as my +10 Saw Spear that I brought from the main game. Like, look how long it takes me to kill this one guy. But yeah, it's also interesting to pick up all these weapons and look at their descriptions and see sort of the roots of the hunt as we know it in the modern day the game takes place in. You can see these primitive versions of the various weapons that you started out with or picked up along the way. This one we'll be picking up soon is the boom hammer. So similar to you know, the powder keg weapons, like the cannon or other stuff. Big old hammer that explodes and shoots fire. Pretty neat. Again, haven't used it much, but you know what? I've only played this game 3 times, so give me a break. I also I'm not doing well against this guy because I left the beast cutter equipped, and so I had to go at him with the Blades of Mercy, which I did not have upgraded to nearly the level I'd be able to do the damage the kind of damage I would like to do on him, so I'm pretty sure I die here due to my hubris. Well, I put up a good fight. Yeah, there you go, Kate. Sorry about that. Anyway, I know it has been a scant 3 or 4 days for you watching this since the last video. For me, recording this commentary, it has been quite a while. Whoop! Also, yeah, just cutting back here to show that on the way back I forgot to pick up part of the old hunter outfit. Gotta fall down there to get it, which I did by accident. But, yeah, since a lot has happened to me since the last time I recorded one of these videos, let's see, I went on vacation, saw you, Katie. We watched that, we watched the Bonnie Tyler episode together, and Clue, the movie. Went on vacation, got my wisdom teeth out. I'm still recovering from that. Beat Demon Souls. The Demon Souls PS5 remake. Turns out the trick was that I started as the priest starter class the first time, when I should have gone with royalty. Because that one starts you off with an offensive spell, and you, man... I can only speak for myself, but you fucking need magic to beat Demon Souls. Not miracles. Miracles do not help you that much, at least early on. It takes a while before they happen. Before they become useful, I mean. But yeah. Glad I played Demon Souls. It was interesting to see where so many of the ideas that were refined in later games came from. Especially in, you know, the Bluepoint remake, which just looks and feels fantastic to play. Even if they didn't really bother ironing out some of the stuff that was kind of clunky. You know, like you can't jump out of a dash like you can in Bloodborne and all that kind of stuff, you know. There's some stuff that just didn't... They refined, you know. And, not only did I beat Demon Souls, I have been playing Elden Ring lately, the latest From Software game, one co-written by one, George R.R. Martin. Man, it is so fucking good. It is great. I am having a wonderful time. I beat Godric the Grafted, and I'm now, exploring Liurnia. That game is fucking huge. The game is enormous. But I'm having a wonderful time. I think Demon Souls, playing that right before Elden Ring left me a bit unprepared, because like I said, faith builds take a while before they become pretty viable, in Demon Souls. Whereas in Elden Ring, I was like, okay, I'm not doing faith this time, I'll do, like, sorcery and melee. And that's working out for me fine too. Then I find out in Elden Ring, faith builds are actually fucking badass because they get all the cool fire spells. So I'm like, ah, shit. Well, you know, next time I play, I'll be a priest and get to you know, burn up a bunch of people with spells with cool names like Flame Fall Upon Them. Yeah. Very fun. Very hard, but also, like, I don't know, sort of a different approach to difficulty just by the very fact that it's open world and much more open-ended than, you know, this game in particular and some of the other more linear Souls games. Because, you know, the first boss, essentially, that, like, blocks your path, Margit the Fell Omen, is, like, he's really hard, but with the way the game is structured, it's basically like, okay, you got this big roadblock right in your way, and I bet you want to beat him to a pulp, don't you? You could just go out in the world and find something to give yourself an edge, you know, find a cool spell, find some good gear, some better gear than you're using, a cool weapon, some stuff to upgrade it, you know? It really lets you make your own adventure, as opposed to, you know, say this game, which is more of a roller coaster ride with a lot of side paths, you know. Anyway, I thought it was funny that that one beast man had my blood echoes, and I was like, I wasn't even focused on him, and he ended up getting killed by one of the hunters on the big flaming ball trap. And, just for doing nothing, I got all my echoes back. That was pretty funny. Blood echoes / souls, yada yada, currency / stuff you use to level up in Elden Ring is called runes. And do I still just call them souls? Yes, I do. Who do you think I am? Well, I tell you who I am. I'm a guy who's about to die a lot in Bloodborne, because look at this guy. This is the nightmare equivalents of the executioner enemies from, remember there was one right at the beginning, and a couple more in Hemwick and around places. These guys are way harder, though, because they're way bigger. And they have that attack, and they can buff their axes with this magic aura that does AoE damage. Yeah, I died to this guy a lot. I died so much, it changed all my clothes. Whoop! Well, that was horrible. Let's not let that happen again, huh, Kate? Yeah. You're smart. I know you know to avoid that. Yeah, use some of that fancy nun blood. So easy to get knocked over by that. Oh, you know what's also great about Elden Ring is, Patches is in there. He's a spider in this game, but like in the other games, he's human in Elden Ring, and you meet him in a cave full of bandits. You come to the end of this, bandit-infested cave with little noise traps that alert everybody, so you gotta jump over these little bells. You can jump, too, in Elden Ring. Oh, I'll keep telling the story in a bit. Right now, looks like, there's a, Flaming Hot Cheetos variety cleric beast? In a big old room? Alright, I guess it's boss fight time. So soon as we pick this up. Okay, maybe you gotta look at the item description to trigger the boss fight. Let's see, Pass River of Blood, Private Research Hall, the Healing Church. Enter the research hall using this eye, grant eyes to the skull. Okay, good thing we came here. Sounds like we're gonna need this. Okay, that didn't trigger the boss fight either. Maybe you gotta walk away? And it'll put up the fog wall? Well, no boss fight there. I also love that these guys... I forget if it's this way in the Waking World too, but I love that those statues are amygdala holding spears. And what was I saying? Patches. You meet Patches early on in Elden Ring in a cave full of bandits. And you come to this big open room that you're like, ooh, boss time, except there's nothing in there except a treasure chest. And so you open the treasure chest and you look at what's inside, and it's just like, it's just a shirt, basically. Just like a regular, like, shitty shirt with, like, no defense. And then you hear the unmistakable voice of Patches admonishing you for stealing his property. And then a boss health bar shows up that says Patches, and he comes in wielding a spear and a big old great shield. And you have to fight him as a boss, except when he gets down to like half health, he sits down, he's like, wait, stop, I surrender. So then you can be friends with him. It's great, I love him. Anyway, this tripped me up a lot the first time playing. You just kinda gotta be good at dodging, because these things aren't really constant, and once you get close to them, they break with one hit. But yeah, these things can stun lock you. They can really kill the shit out of you if you're not careful. There's even that one as I fell for that trap the first time as I went and just tried to kill that guy, and it shot me. Shot me right in the ass. Yeah. There's still the like basic bitch chump enemies in the DLC. They're not all expert hunters like you and me. Also a new consumable item here that I actually find to be one of the least useful things in the game. The delayed Molotov. The old hunters basically invented grenades, timed grenades, and then stopped using them. Mainly because they suck. You know, the regular Molotovs do have a much bigger area of effect, it seems like. And, you know, it feels like throwing something that blows up on a timer in this game where everybody can just dart around like nobody's business. I mean, maybe a bigger target can't just do that, but it's, you know, like... For guys trying to kill me, a person who can dodge at the touch of a button, it does not work. So yeah, I don't find them particularly useful, but I think it's very interesting the amount of new things in this DLC that were added to sort of flesh out the lore of, you know, the beginnings of the hunt, the sort of growing pains of what the old hunters, you know, invented to try and combat this, at that time, brand new plague of beasthood. You know, what they should have invented is a fucking pause button so I could read this item description without getting attacked. Yeah, there's also a lot of good lore in this first area about the predecessor to the Powder Keg Workshop, the Otto Workshop, or maybe the Otto Workshop. They also made the Boom Hammer that a bunch of guys have been using. I'm sorry, I keep saying that wrong. Boom Hauer. That's really what it is. Dang old Bloodborne, man. I tell you what. Dang old From Software, dang old Hayao Miyazaki, man. Hey, this looks familiar. Uh-oh! I love that part so much. Yeah, that's right, Katie. Cool guys dust off their capes after they escape from an explosion. So yeah, here's the boom hammer. Equipped with a miniature furnace. Crush the beasts, then burn them. Brute simplicity was favored by hunters with an acute distaste for beasts. Let's show off how it works, how about? Oh, it's a heavy weapon. You just swing it around. Do a strong attack to... Or do you do a strong attack to, Yes, that's the strong attack, okay. Or the charged version. And then when you trick it, it will apply a, fire effect to the next hit. Which, does not use bullets, actually. And of course, you can chain that in your combos. Honestly, some playthrough at some point, I might experiment with that one. I don't tend to use the really big, strength weapons in Bloodborne, since it's really, it's more of a dex game. But could be fun. Could be fun to pull off a nice trick shot and blow a guy up. Speaking of tricks, there's this little guy. This guy is a mini-boss. I don't know if he has a name, but he's really in tune with his beasthood. He's got the beast claws that I think you can get from one of the chalice dungeons, which are a good dex weapon, and also, I believe they impact your level of beasthood, or the rate at which it builds up, possibly, or the starting level of beasthood when you pop a pellet. One of those is probably the case. Yeah, he's pretty tough, honestly, because he's really squirrely, likes to dodge a lot, but me, I'm a seasoned veteran of the Beast Wars by this point. And this badge will just let you buy all of the Odo Workshop gear and weapons, which is cool. That's bad enough for now. We'll pick this up again next time. See ya!